Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, this is Redberry Leo here, and welcome to another Civil Air Patrol content video. Today I will be talking about how to wear the Blues uniform properly, so let's just jump into it. In my previous video, I had talked about how to wear the ABU and the BDU uniform, and the Blues uniform is just a little bit more complicated of a deal. The things that you will need in order to wear this uniform is you will need a V-neck t-shirt, and you will need white undergarments if you're wearing any undergarments underneath, whether it be a tank top or other things. And you do need a pair of black socks. The main uniform is comprised of several items, including the blouse, which is this blue thing on top, and then also the pants. The pants are dark blue and the top is light blue. Additionally, you will have a cover of some kind. Females may wear the female officer cover. This is the senior member badge that is worn on the female officer cover. And then cadets wear a flight cap. They can also wear the female officer cover. And they need to make sure that they have the proper emblem on here if they are wearing that. And there's also like a wheel cover that males and females can both wear. But this is what the flight cap looks like for females. And it's supposed to be able to open up more. The males is more of a rectangle, and it is not smooth and curved like this. It's more like a flat pocket. So if you think of like what an envelope looks like, that's what a male cover looks like. I don't actually have a male cover, I have a female cover, so that's what this is. And that is worn when you are outside. Additionally, you will have low quarters. Now these low quarters are leather, and I actually prefer the leather ones over something called corafram. Corafram is a type of shoe style, which the outside is just like a really shiny plastic cover. And they are very shiny, they are very beautiful, but they hurt your feet a lot more, and it's harder to break in than normal leather shoes. You can get leather shoes to be super shiny, like mine aren't very shiny right now because I haven't shined them in the past like few weeks, but you can get them to be very shiny with a lot of time and effort. But with coraframs, it's kind of like cheating, one, and two, they're not nearly as comfortable because they don't break in as easily. So that's just something to keep in mind when you were buying your shoes for Blues. I have gel inserts personally in my shoes because they're not comfortable to begin with, and by putting in gel inserts, it actually makes it a little bit more bearable. Because if you're like, I don't know, going to National Legislative Day and you're walking around the Capitol, that is a lot of walking. That's like miles of walking in those shoes. So I personally do not wear the pumps. Females are allowed to wear pumps if they desire, and I've personally never liked wearing pumps, and I haven't liked wearing skirts, so I'm not going to really talk about it except for like there is a required length where it be between like a certain part of your knee, and if you want more information on that, go into 39-1. I'm not going to talk about skirts here because they're really hard to wear in general. They're not as comfortable, and honestly, pants are kind of freeing. So I'm going to talk about wearing pants more in depth today. Okay, so whenever you are wearing your Blues blouse, you will always need to have a name tape. Now this one is gray, covered by a blue piece of tape. If you are a cadet, your name tape is going to be blue, and you're going to wear it on your right side. If you have your ribbon rack, then you're going to wear it on the left side. You're not required to wear a ribbon rack, but you are required to wear all of your ribbons if you are wearing your ribbon rack. If you are wearing a ribbon rack that's missing a ribbon or two, it's technically not in regs. So like if you're missing your encampment ribbon and you went to encampment, you really shouldn't be wearing your ribbon rack. You will hold yourself to whatever standard you want. So if you are missing ribbons, then just don't wear your ribbon rack. But I personally only have one ribbon rack, and I put it onto my dress A or my class A coat. So on my normal shirt, I just have my name tape on this side and then my insignia on the shoulders. If you are a cadet, then the insignia that you will be wearing is either the blue, the dark blue with whatever grade you are, or you will have your insignia on your collar. So if you're an officer, this will go on your shoulders, and if you are a NCO or a cadet airman, then you will put this on your collar, just like the BDU ABU uniform that I showed before. And I will do a brief demonstration of that. Ready, set, go. Okay, so I've got my collar here. I'm going to measure 1 inch parallel and centered on the collar. So I'm gonna stretch that collar out a little bit more and then push through. Some collars have like a plastic piece in them. It's okay to poke through that plastic piece if needed. So I'm gonna check by looking straight on and see if it's crooked or not. It's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to adjust as needed and then remeasure. Okay, so we're at 1 inch on this one, and I'm going to do the other one now. And after I've finished them, I'm going to check that both of them are about the same. Okay, so I finished both of my insignia and they are lined up. They are both in about the same spot and I should be good to go. Now another thing you might notice is that this is a long sleeve shirt. If you are wearing a long sleeve shirt, you are required to wear a tie or tie tab. Females wear tie tabs and males wear ties. If you do not have a tie, then you are not supposed to be wearing a long sleeve shirt. So another thing with the blues blouse is when you're wearing your ribbon rack and your name tape, they need to be aligned on the shirt. So the bottom of them need to be aligned. Something helpful with the male shirts is that there's actually pockets on them, and you can just put the name tape and the ribbons on in accordance to where the pockets are located. Like you're required to align it, like center it above the pocket and then put it there. But female shirts don't have that. And there are two different types of female shirts. There's tuck-in and out blouse. Tuck-in is where you stuff it into your pants or skirt, and out blouse is where you can just wear it hanging loosely and it doesn't have to be tucked in. I personally like wearing the tuck-in more because you can actually wear it tighter and it's not like floating everywhere. And you can wear something called shirt stays. So shirt stays are something that is really helpful for keeping your shirt look tight and crisp. So if you're ever doing inspections or if you're doing cadet competition and you want to look really sharp, get some shirt stays. There are different types of them. I have the stirrup kind, which means this part goes around my foot. I can't show you. It goes around my foot like this, and then it stays underneath my heel and it keeps the shirt pulled tight. There are some that clip to the bottom of, they clip to the bottom of the shirt, kind of like these, and then they clip to the top of the socks. So it's a little bit less comfortable and it doesn't stay as well. So I recommend getting the stirrup kind if you are using shirt stays. If not, just do your best in trying to keep your shirt looking tight and crisp by pinching the sides and then folding outward like that, and then it'll tighten your shirt. Something I forgot to mention about shirt stays is if you are using the stirrup kind, make sure you put the shirt stays on before you put the socks on, because if they're white and they're showing, it doesn't look good and they actually pop off more. So make sure you put your socks on after you put the shirt stays on and you make it nice and tight. So I'm going to talk to you guys about something called the gig line. So the gig line is basically where the edge of your zipper is, and then the edge of your belt, and then the line of your buttons. And this is your gig line, where you want to make sure that everything is aligned. So females wear their belt to a certain direction by going to the right, and males go to the left. So you can think of it as females are always right, but I'm not saying that's a true statement, I'm just saying that it's a way that I remember. But anyway, so the small silver clasp down here has certain standards that you are required to follow. So when you are wearing your belt, you will have excess right here, and your belt, when you wear it, the silver is supposed to stay on the silver right here. So you can see silver is on silver. Okay, some people, they go out further than that, and that is no longer within standards. So if you have too much slack, or you have too much of the dark blue fabric, then pull up on this little clasp right here, which is holding the excess down, and then you should be able to adjust the length as needed. Belts are made of different materials. This one is a stretchier belt by just a little bit, so some of them are like very stiff and it's harder to do the clasp, but just make sure you adjust it to the right length and then it should be fine for the rest of the time you're wearing your uniform. In terms of the pants length, it should be resting comfortably on the top of the shoe. So if your pants are too short and you can see your ankles and your socks, then you might need to let the hem out. But if your pants are dragging on the floor, then your pants might be too long. So you might need to adjust the length of the pants to fit your needs accordingly. The pants also need to fit well around your waist. So it should be a comfortable, natural fit over your hips. And my hips are a little high. My hips are right here. So I'm wearing them above my hips. And it should rest comfortably without squeezing you too much and not being so baggy that they're just like coming off. Like you should be able to wear the pants like around the waist naturally without them falling off or being too tight. Next, I'm going to talk about the Class A coat. So the coat is about the same wear as the normal blues blouse, but if I were to wear my coat, I would be required to put on my tie tab. Now, how you put a tie tab on is you complete this button right here, and then you put the tie tab around and you make sure that it's centered, and you put the collar back down. None of the tie tab should be showing from underneath the collar. Okay, so it should be about equal in distance. It's hard to do with the mirrored image of me on the computer screen. So we've got our coat, and there are different components here. You'll see there's a US here. If you're a cadet and you are wearing this, it depends on if you're a cadet officer or if you were an NCO. If you are an NCO, then you'd be wearing your grade right here. If you are a cadet officer, then you'd be wearing the grade here, and you'd be using one of these things. They are Velcro on the back, and honestly, you probably just need to sew on the bottom layer. So it comes in two. So it has like a bottom Velcro layer and then a top Velcro layer. I personally had to sew the bottom layer onto the coat rather than just having like the sticky surface, because it's supposed to be a sticker. But if you have your overcoat for like 2 or 3 years, the sticker starts to wear off and it doesn't work very well. So it's easier to just sew that down and then be able to put the rank on. So it would look like that, and then you'd have it underneath the collar. If you are a senior member, then you just use this, and you would be using an Air Force officer coat versus cadets who use exclusively NCO coats. Additionally, if you're using name tapes, I forgot to mention this earlier. Well, you are using name tapes. Senior member name tapes are gray and cadets are blue, right? So this one is actually a silver one that you can't see because it is secretly hidden, but it is silver underneath. Now, this is where the ribbons are. My ribbon rack is not centered like a normal ribbon rack is, and that's because of the height of my ribbon rack. You want to make sure that your ribbons aren't covered by the collar. So as you get a taller ribbon rack, then you need to stack it slightly shifted to the left, I believe. So it has my highest cadet achievement and then other authorized ribbons for senior members. And if you're a cadet, you can wear all of your achievement ribbons, and like encampment participation, emergency services related stuff, cadet competition, anything like that, you can wear those ribbons. I personally wore a condensed rack when I became a cadet colonel because I just found it was too many ribbons, and I still wanted to wear my coat. And you can choose to wear a condensed rack or like the full rack. The full rack can be a bit much sometimes, and I was like, I don't really feel like bragging about my Curry achievement because that was like 8 years ago, and I'm proud of accomplishing it, but I'm more proud of like getting my spots. So, I mean, this is what happens. So, if you see here, there are different types of ribbons, and I'm not going to do a video on ribbons, but each ribbon represents something that someone has accomplished in the program. So like I have gone to 5 encampments, which is seen here with the ribbon being the base award and the 1, 2, 3, 4 propellers on the ribbon. And I did Wing CAC, I participated in NCSA, I did IACE. Like, you get ribbons for all sorts of different things that you get involved with the program. So feel free to get involved as much or as little as you want. I know that I have really enjoyed contributing to the program and being a part of it, so that is what I have to say about that. So that concludes everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions. So thank you guys so much for watching, and that is all, folks. Until next time, toodles.